always say, don't dance like me, dance like you. I can only offer you guidance, as well as other aunties. They say, I can offer you my way of dancing, but there comes a certain time where you must embrace your own.
Yes, it was never meant to stay in. It was meant to be taught and to be, Pasua, you see, I want to see your story. You cannot tell my story because you're not me. But I want to hear your story. So tell me your story. Yeah, tu ufa solo, tu fa solo. It means you have to pass it on. And part of your all of us Samoa, it's your dance, solo of Siva.
Talofa lava, and welcome back to another episode of the Faamanuia podcast. I am your host, Ieremia-Allan, and I'm humbled that you would join us today. O lea so, ua mawhaatasi ai ma le awhionga ia Tuiloma Inipene Simanu. Ma lola me soifua, sumai tala mai au, Tuiloma.
Talofa litara, ma lo fu soifua, ma langi e mama.
Welcome to our Faamanuia podcast. Today I will be reading a little bit of a biography about you to set the scene. Tuiloma is a teacher by profession, as well as holding many roles as a tamaitai leader, matai, and guardian of the cultural arts. With a heart for the Samoan culture, language, song and dance, she has also served the education sector in various roles, namely as Senior Education Officer for the Broadcasting Unit of the Ministry, the Principal Education Officer for primary levels, as well as Assisting Chief Executive Officer for the Curriculum Design and Materials Division. Tuiloma has mentored many children and students over the years and also comes from a long line of Siva Samoa practitioners and teachers, and continues to carry this legacy on through her service in the Samoa Teachers Training College Cultural Group, as well as continuing to mentor other educators and other up-and-coming lovers and learners of Siva Samoa. Welcome, Tuiloma.
Welcome again, Litara, and our lovely team around us. Talofa po le mamalo le tunu, o lo mwhai ana whaafonga mai. Ia ai me se lava ia pa anga o loo mawhai ana lango ina lau pol kalame. Ia le atua i le tautua, ia o foina, ia me se fo ilo lan soifua, ia e lango ia pol kalame o lo tau mwhai.
Malo whaftai. Well, Tuiloma, or should I also say auntie? Welcome to our podcast. We try to make this space a space where people feel comfortable, but also a space where we feel that we can be ourselves. So maybe now that I'm feeling comfortable with you, I can relax a little bit more.
Go ahead.
Well, auntie, I'm really excited for this podcast today because I feel that you have among many teachers, have done a lot for this country. But I also wanted to acknowledge the intersection between teaching and culture. I feel that educators in Samoa are not only educators in the classroom, but they are also educators in different fields. And one of those fields for you, as well as the legacy of those who have come before you, have been in teaching Siva Samoa and different areas of the aganu'u. I wondered, auntie, if you could start us off, where did Siva Samoa start for you? Was it a particular memory or particular moment that you remember?
If I have to be honest with myself, it starts in the womb of my mom. It starts from there because my father was not only a choreographer, he was also a composer. He was an artist in in many areas of the word artist. So I believed when when I was in mom's womb, they would read stories to me. Especially, this is my father, because this is his nature. So he sings to to the babies because I'm saying this because he also encouraged me with my other sister while she was having a baby. And go sing to the baby and your sisters. Read a story. And so, when I was born, he would read stories. He would because he's a storyteller. From Talafango, Mena Vapena. When I grew up, I think when I was probably 5 to 6, he would take me to the teacher's culture group practice. But before that, every night at home, he would roll a mat, got his sticks, and then he beats. And then he would make me say all that way over there, say it back, and then he would say, okay, this is how the movements of your head should go, and your fingers. And then I would say, okay, now bend a little way, this way, and then look where your hands are moving. So everything started from home. Like this, the womb of everything is at home. It's home. It's where you learn from anything, whether it is reading, whether it is counting, talking, walking, cooking, and even dancing, singing. But like I said, my father was an artist, so he sings, and he's got a beautiful voice. I'm telling you, and I know your grandfather, he's proud of him, and he talked about him having that high note, the high voice. I think he was the one who had the highest voice in them. The tone, his tone, and his in the teachers' culture group. So from home, he was always that person that guides us in everything we do. So sometimes he pushes us to write poems, write stories, but everything reflects the environment around us. So that's where my dancing started from. It really started from home, because like I said, he would roll that mat and then beat it without any guitar, any music, anybody singing, but it was just the roll and the beat of the fala. And for me to say, when I was the only girl at the time, and when he had another daughter following, and the other 2 cousins of mine, we were all girls. And every evening after our local, after our dinner, then that is the routine. He would roll that mat, then, and you would see all the boys kamaki around on the road. But they say ma. So say. But when I was 5 or 6, because he was well known, I think, at the time, when he was a student at the teachers' college. But my father started composing songs, Samoan songs, when he was a student at Haveli. Him and his other cousin, Simanu, composed one of the songs in Haveli, which students are singing right now. So when they moved to the teachers' college, they were known as those, they were the composers, the conductors, and choreographers for Siva. I think his cousin Simanu, when he moved to New Zealand, so when they selected the first ever teachers cultural group, and he was one of the original member. So when they selected him, that was, I think, 1971. He brought me to the Siva, when they had practice. There is a clip of them having a practice outside of the Samoa. You could spot a little girl with curly hair standing there, 6 or 5 years old. That was me. So, he brought me to those practice, and he would tell me, look at Auntie Lamosa. Look at who, There were women there who very, they were great dancers. And then he would say, watch them, observe them. And the first, I think that was the first time I've seen Lefionga Toha Salamansina, because she was one of the instructors for Samoa Siva, le Siva Faamanuia. Other ladies were Fale Tuile Tufunga, she was also there. Some other women, they were, if you go around and you mention their names, and everybody would say, oh yeah, yes, this one. So those were the Tapuono, those women. He would, tell me to look at them, observe them, and just observe their movements and how they did the Siva at the time. So that's where my interest and the basic skills of dancing started from. But gradually, when I became, I think I imagined myself dancing in the cultural group. But both my parents are teachers, and that also pushed me to be one of them. So when I entered the teachers college in 1984, yes, I think 1984, 85. They picked me when they selected a group for the festival at Tahiti, and I was a first year, and so that was my first time dancing with the teachers cultural group, and that's where my confidence built. So, but I was lucky because when I came in, there were still those those ladies from the master years, like at Tapuno. There was Auntie Lamosa, and there was Sulunga Lameta, Fionga Fortino, Mesa Anga. There was Tuie, Tupai, Loto Nuno for Inga. Oh, you see them, I don't, well, I dance, but I'm not near their standard if I assess myself, evaluate myself. But yeah, so that's where my interest in dancing started from. It actually started from home, but the confidence and to become a choreographer. It was also from the teachers, culture group. The ideas from there. But I've been doing this. I've assisted one of my, he was my friend, Tuiloma-Allan with the Pacific Games in 2007, and then the Commonwealth, the SIDS. So when he passed, it was actually me and the team of teachers that we had to build a team with a whiunga pali peone to come up with a concept for the Pacific Games. So that was that's my journey. That's the journey for me.
That's a beautiful journey, Atsi. And I think about Siva Samoa, it's morphed into many different ways of practicing. And I remember when you were mentoring me through my Siva Samoa journey, you always say, don't dance like me. Dance like you. I can only offer you guidance, as well as other aunties. They say, I can offer you my way of dancing, but there comes a certain time where you must embrace your own.
Yes.
So, Leo Siva Awhaiaonga, it's a huge part of our Siva Samoa story here in this place. In what ways do you see they have impacted Siva Samoa? I guess they came from a long line of practitioners, but they have been seen by many as pioneers.
Yeah, you're right there. You see, when they first established it was the Western Samoa Cultural Group, because the first group that went to Fiji were made of teachers, and there were nurses as well. And I believed that these women came from Papata. And they came with the Siva Samoa, and it was easier because, like I said, Salamasina to Lefionga Toa was also involved, and she knew where these women are. So when they established recruited the teachers cultural group, Western Samoa cultural group for the first ever festival. So they brought in those ladies from the nursing profession, and also, but a lot of them, the majority were teachers. So they came, they composed songs, they created dance, and the ideas were there. They were led by pioneer of the culture, and with under the leadership Sataraka, and the director at the time was Fanafi, Fanafi, but she was Dr. Fanafi Larkin at the time. So, with all those, the skills, the knowledge of the Samoa, our traditions, they were all in that group. So when they came, they went to represent Samoa. When they came back, they went to their own villages. They started forming youth, for their church and their Siva for their own. And that's where they transfer the knowledge to. So like when you go teach, it's like they always spread the gospel. So it was never meant to stay in the teacher's culture group. It was meant to be taught and to be, fast. So you see, so that's yes, you are true. Te lele o le a o le sao le au siva whaia o ngā i siva. I taimi nei, e longo fia i au siva e whaia o ngā. Ia, e langa o lai nau ma ave i leanga waa ma tō mai na o. Ia, ma watu e whaila ia tamu whaia ia siva o talavou. So, ia fo te lea i o le sao le au siva whaia o ngā. Le ngata lai la to talavou, but also in schools. So they taught the students how to dance, how to sing, even if there's no piano, no kikala, no, they just taught the basic skills of how to dance. So, me fo lana a langi fo I ka pese a tamati Samoa, even if there's no piano, e popoto I blend, ia leo, mawhai le taulangi, le melody o le pesi, because we masani o lea o e whaia onga.
Beautiful, Auntie. When I was at Miss Pacific, I remember Miss Kiribas, beautiful sister Kim. She was talking about their practices when they dance. There's a Tulo. I don't know much about the various different practices in Kiribati culture, but I remember her saying something along the lines of they wake up at a certain time before the day of their dance, and they aluile sami, they prepare and dance in the ocean. But also not only in their preparations within the si'o mau, they also are only able to be taught by elderly. Because I remember we were saying, all the other girls were saying to her at Miss Pacific Islands Prep, Kim, teach us some of your moves. And she said, oh no, in our culture, the elders, the people that hold a wealth of knowledge, they are the only ones that they have the right to teach. And I thought, oh my goodness, that is so powerful, because they treat their practices with such reverence that only the elders can teach it. And I thought, oh my goodness, if I'm ever taught to teach, who am I to teach Siva Samoa? Thinking about the pioneers and thinking about all these elders that have gone before us. But I guess, Auntie, I guess I'm asking, what does it take to teach Siva Samoa? We have, many people that are teaching Siva Samoa, which is amazing and beautiful. Does it take a certain person? Does it take a certain heart posture? Does it take a certain amount of experience? And again, acknowledging everyone has different opinions on this, but in your eyes, do you have a certain way of looking at it?
You're talking about your sister in the Pacific competition. From Kiribati. Ia tātou angai whanua manganu. Ia whai lātou anganu. Ia tātou la. O tātou ai le anganu ai a tātou. E awa o le tamaititi mai le mātau. E mātau o na tango le mwhataitai. E whataitai o lono if I'm your older sibling, whatever I do, you will imitate. You observe me, and then you imitate. And that's how you learn. For me, I will have to guide you. Where this is where you should, do this. If you do that, you will be in danger. If you do this, you'll be okay. So, ia te awa ia malo langona. Le anga o le tātou aganu'u e iai e upu o le soalau pule. Soalau pule ma whaasoa. Ono na winga e le tau fi mau e tātou. E whaasoa. E whaasoa o mai whai o le pule a mai e te leu ua. Le anga e unga e anu. Ai tau ona whaasoa le pule lea i tangata o lo ainga. O le mea la whalala nai whai so se wainga o le tātou o langa wha Samoa. But it takes me back to one of your questions, your second question that you asked. Yes, I always say to you, don't copy me, don't copy me. Because for me, I want to see your story. I want to see your story. You cannot tell my story because you're not me. But I want to hear your story. So tell me your story. Like I always say, whenever I go to judge competitions, I always say to them, see, dancing, it has its own language. Your body movement, your facial expression, your smile, your feet, your fingers, they tell you a story. They tell you that you are sad. Your facial gives you, that emotion. So that's why I always say, tell me your story, because if you tell me your story, that's when I feel it. But if you want to tell my story, they won't feel it, and you don't feel it, and and that's why I always, when I helped you with your Siva and talent, I said to you, tell us your story. If you can convince us, then you are going to win. And that's what I always say. Whaasoa mai po lea e le mawhai ai pea le mea pea tala noi tamai te le mwhai ona e malamalama ba le ta ua mai tamai te tilo na langona. You ask them a question, they need to tell you what is wrong. You cannot assume anything. Ele me whena e alwe tau mate se mea. Se i mga na mo whamtala mai whaasoa mai kangona. So it's the same. So when it comes to teaching, it's tātou aganu'u. Leanga o le whamoe le nā e whaasoa mai ia tu'u whaasolo, e tātou tu'u whaasolo. It means you have to pass it on. Tu whaasolo. Ia, e whapena la le mea e whai. Whapena le ia leanga e tau ona whai. Ina ia mawhai ona whaasolo le ia unga tupulanga. It's going to be, I don't know, te le o le influence o anga, the modern dance, ele mele wai nei o Siva Samoa. And it breaks my heart when I see it. Because o awea e selo manu ele Siva Samoa langa. It's part of our culture. And if we lose that, we're going to lose our culture. We're going to lose our language. E whamanatu mai ai pea lea whutna le saunoanga le whiunga ai onu, Dr. Biography. E ale ai lo se, ale senga nuu, le senga ngana. Nia ale ai lo senga ngana o pongsani nuu. Ia pe ale se ngana, o le senga nuu, au le senga nuu, ia o pongsani nuu. O lona winga, wana o tangata e whiwai. Awale lopo whiani o lato whasino manga. Because ele ngata o launga ngana, ia o le whatinonga, o le ola wha Samoa. And part of your ola wha Samoa, it's your dance, o lau siwa. Ia ale ailoa, ia ua pei o se motu e tuufua. Wana ona iai o tangata ele ini me. But iai fu ale fiso ta inga o tātou ia maisi ia tātou the Onepa Islands. E whaingo ia fiso ta inga. Ele ngata e fua uma mea le si o manga. Ai ko le Siva. Au tātou Siva te whaatinoa mea tutupu tonu si o manga. Mea, o le me foi nai fa pena foi la pena foi tonga ia ma fiti o la to foi action so fai o tanga e ma fu mai o no o si o manga lai o lai o anga vaenga o le ola o lo o ma we tono si o manga ia muli ai foi la to fati
Ioi, e se le matakamu fie o le neitala anti it brings me back to a memory within the Siva Samoa pageant time. And I remember we all went to Salofata. And that's where I performed the tawalunga for Anuama. And on the topic of dancing with your gangas representing the siksi umanga and the stories our nature tells us, because our environment has its own language towards us that can only speak to our soul. I remember when I danced that tawalunga, it was a different feeling to when I danced on someone else's no. And I remember getting very emotional afterwards to think, somehow I feel still again. Somehow beforehand, all the vevesi and all the worries and all the stress was here and here before I did my dance. Somehow, when I'm in my own village with my own people, something different comes out. And so I guess it's an encouragement to our young ones, aunties, to just as much practice you put into memorizing your dance, know the people you're dancing for.
Yes.
And know the ground that you're dancing on, and be aware of the context. Because the way you siva for this group, it might change with the other group.
Yes.
So I think it's a very nice topic, Auntie, because
you know, they say sui le fati o le pese. My so is if they foi la o le mele wa e fe mai ai atara. You know, when you e se ala si vai te si vai o. E se foi la sa ai alo foi te si vai lumo o matai ma e te siva wale e te loa lele o matai o la tobi e ave e ro fa alwa. E siva fo i luma o le au manga. Te lo le alo wa. O
man bole
to fine
non mai fa mo.
O le to fine ma le tuangani e te va ai uma po tamale au manga po o tuangani e ai le vata puia o lona winga e ai a tanga e tau ona na faatino ai la poi o le me foi le atu o le si mea le na o fia ia mo mimita e te ina wa me ona walunga i Salofata ai mo atu le tamai tau to ilano ana tu ai lo vai le tu tama wai solia le va wai soli le va pe a soli le tu fine lo na non tuangan an no fo i fale le ai fai mai a wale wo vai o ele tala la fa tai le yo vai fa pena fo la fai ngol siva ai fe te le lo na e tulo na e talianga le pe te fau ai wo vai e tangata ele ai le anga ai le va ta puia ma le fa no alo e te siva ai you are conscious of the people around you and when you perform perform accordingly to. I'm not saying I si vai ruma ka miki nga e atu la ako ai lea. You have to be mindful. O tamiti la e whata itai e te oi. Okay? So, whatever you teach them, they will capture it. Ola tō me poeata. Ia lono winga. Matua wa. Rea ilanga nga Samoa le me Samoa whapea mai. No, lea. You will have to be the role model. Ia oa ole whaanoalo. Oa ole lele tū. Ia mai sau whai. Ia mahanga e tawan whai. I tonu pea whatangai. Ia mtanga ole.
I guess it takes me to this particular word. Ole upu ono mea. And it's used, it's used to do with dance. When we see someone that just takes our breath away.
Yeah, well, I'm going to bring in my head as a teacher. O tātou ia upu fo i ta waro o upu e winga lasi o lona winga e tasi le upu ai tele o na winga ia e vaila le upu na ono mea o le upu ai e ono mea e wawa ai iai ia ma e ilo le leilo na winga e tusa o le whetau i le lei whetau i le lei ia po o le o male to inga ko e tatau ai e mawhai ona e whapea mai whao te savali mai loa i lo puletasi le whai na whai mai loa lai e se lo wono mea i lau puletasi o lona winga o lai whai mai e se lo la le lei i lau puletasi e se le whetau i o le puletasi ma oe a whaapea fo i la e te alu e whai le tuinga wa e leo tamaitai o mai tuinga le siwa inga na oe wa pei wa soli ai le wa tuinga o fia e oi e le tangata ave e le tuinga e ono mea le tuinga ia i le alo o le tamali po le tau po e ave i le whaalo le no o mea na whanai te whaalongo i ei whamai e ono mea ia le tuinga o lona winga lo whai mai te tau ia le anga o le tangata le la po le tamaitai la e tau ona ave e le tuinga a whapea fo i la e te siva mai e siva mai ai whai mai ata e se le ono mea o le ono mea la siva o lona winga o au ngā o yoinga o au te unga o lau ata o lo la e o lona winga whetau i umama oi matua i tala whengai uma mena a o fai la i tutono le au siva whaia o ngā e maalia wa e pe e whaatala tua a whapea e tutusa umatanga ma le la le lei, ma le au le lei o e la le lei tamaitai, e au le lei ali, ia la tau siwa, ona whai mai lola ia le tanga, e ese le ono mea i o le au siwa, a fo e ngatasi umatanga, tutusa umai e whaingo o ala tau lava, e o i le au mai o le whiau i le siwa, matua i la ngona le lei, ai a o tutunu la i o le au siwa whaia o ngā, e whaapea le tangata e taitai. A walawa ne i fitu mea, pe 5 mea. A whai wa fitu mea, wa e ova tātou. Ai a 5 mea, o lona winga, le aima se fia matamata i lau siwa. Lona winga e ele mea na o lo mano vale pe ai siwa. Ia wa e fitu wa e varu wa e iwa. Ia po le 5 po le wha, 5 mea po le wha mea. Ona whai maila o toi ina le au siwa whea o ngā mano ngā tutua. Le tau ona iei le au siwa, e le whetau, e le tala whea ngai, ma e le o se tangata i siwa. So ole, like I said, ole ono mea, e se context e ave ai, but e fua ai ole whaonga ina le ono mea, le whaonga ai le ono mea production. O nei au mai umai a le tamali inga tamali ang o tini, o lona ono mea, o lona mamalu, a savali mai, e te vetu ai, savali mai a ese tamali, e tauanga whau, a tautala mai fu, e tautala ma le whaaloalo, a sau whai, e sau whai o le tamaita i Samoa, e le ngāo ia, e ora o me fu i lea langa e ese ia me, e ese foi whaatinonga, e ia lo matua e whaaluma ma lea bi ta o le whaafiti pute, ia pe a whaafsanga i na manisi e waluma, a e le tato ai whaapena, pe a o mai i mea whaapena, a wai te lea tato i tutono o le whale o matai, ni ai e te savali lama o oi o le tamaitai Samoa, ia e nofo, e te nofo mea la nai whai mai e ono mea a le tamaitai i Samoa pe a sa whai mai e mamalu o le context la na le wha o ngai le ono mea production o le tamaitai Samoa e lona tamali yang ia o lona la e o na fōlinga o lana tautala o lana tū o lana savali me o malana na e whai mai e lo o no mea ai a tu lo le siva ia o se fo ile na o no mea o no winga e se lo va mai e se lo la le pe e siva o mea ru ia yo o lima o haru i mo mata ai ata fo ia pelu e lo ulu a fari fo la ngona ia ali au la ngona le yeah.
I think it's a beautiful message. Mole au kalavoa, Auntie, because we're talking about to be a good dancer or to look after our Siva Samoa starts before you start dancing. It's talking about a holistic approach, Auntie. We're talking about to look after our Siva Samoa is to know how to walk, talk, sit as Samoans, but doing it with the right heart, doing it with mamalu, doing it with whalualo. And we want to thank you for coming onto the podcast today, Auntie, because I think this will be a very useful conversation, I pray and hope and I know, for our youth today who are excited about the Siva Samoa but need to respect it.
Yes.
So please, all of our youth who are watching, no condemnation, nothing like that, but just an offering of advice from Auntie and our elders to make sure we respect our Siva as well as enjoy it. So Auntie whaftaitele lava, we pray that the rest of the year and your commitments may go well. We pray for God's guidance over Onome Productions. We pray for God's blessing over all of our educators who are leading. And a big whaamalo to all those who are continuing to look after our cultural arts and our children. Whaftaitele lava.
Whaftai fo e tara mole. Mole wala au lia. It's an honor and it's also a privilege to be here and talking with you about the aspects of Siva Samoa, which include our culture and our traditional ways. And thank you to your sponsor for initiating this program.